Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, T Live, Rumble, Spreaker, Streaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no K-words, no Kanye talk at all, formerly or now. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So there's topics and guests to that. And this is 650 consecutive weeks on the air. Feels like a milestone. It is a milestone, especially considering it was not supposed to last more than a year, because I'm not talking about anything that you're seeing in the headlines right now. In fact, if you'd like to talk about those things, go where they're being talked about, but usually they're being just broadcast out. Calamity, Jane, John, CNN, constantly negative news, although they're less biased than many. So, but the alphabet counts, as well as what you're doing this, MS, meaningless scrolling. Most of the time, if it bleeds, it leads. And instead of getting you to listen and engage in some angry rhetoric, which is a strategy for many, I want instead to talk about things that are bringing down your happiness under your control, that you can make a difference instead of trying to control things that are outside of your control. And most of the things that are delivered to you on the news are really outside of your control. They're horrific situations and circumstances, and it's not that I'm unfeeling towards calamity or the damage that Mother Nature, part of the cycle, is wreaking havoc. But it's my job to control what I can, which is to take a breath and send it out with comfort and peace and that energy of everything's going to be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And bad things do happen to good people and bad people. It's part of life. And our job is continually grow and expand from baseline or to recover from things that sort of knock us down. So that's my Kool-Aid. Thank you for tuning in today. It is a special day. It's Monday. And on Mondays, we tackle mental health matters. Mondays, because there are things, our BS, our belief systems that we have that make a difference on how we make our choices, on how we're feeling, and certainly the relationship with our mothers, which is the topic today, are affect or are in that category. So my joke is, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. I think I stole that from Edwene Gaines, who's a fabulous spiritual teacher. Also, there's only 2 times in your life you do not have mother issues: when you're born and when you die. And I took that from someone, I can't remember who it was, but it's brilliant. And it's true. There are very few people in my sphere of influence or contact who have not said, it's an interesting relationship with my mother. So that's what we're talking about today. And it's directly a result of asking one of my longtime supporters who I bumped into and got to spend some time with at the Catalina Jazz Fest, Catalina Island Jazz Tracks Festival, which was amazing. I have on a lidocaine patch on my lower back right now because hips don't lie, and I did just a little too much dancing at the Descanso after party with DJ Lexicon. And if you missed any of those fun clips, they're on my social, Doc Balance, on Instagram, Dr. Marissa, everywhere else. So if you want to see my hashtag dancing queen, as well as, oh my gosh, Art Good does it again. The lineup for the entire weekend that I got to spend there was incredible. And shout out to Nathan Mitchell, who was incredible, and he invited me on Instagram. He's going to be at Spaghettini's. I believe it's March 29th. So put that in your calendars, as well as Richard Elliott, who is the guy to blame, actually, for my love of jazz. I saw him years and years and years ago. I want to say like maybe 17 or 18 years ago. And I never thought a saxophone could make the kinds of music and, that whole expression, music soothes your soul. Richard Elliott, he is the master of making that happen. And Rick Braun, amazing on the trumpet, and the two of them together, that was such a fabulous performance. And there's so much more. I got to ride back from Catalina Island with the Spinners, who were incredible on stage. I'm going to forget someone, but it was delightful. I'm going to put on my social all week, all the highlight clips. Lindsay, this is the problem with I have great memory, just horrible recall. But Lindsay Webster, I believe, she is also with my sister Keiko Matsui under Bud, their manager, who was there. It was always great to see Bud and get a hug. And so I'll be putting her clips. I've never heard Somewhere Over the Rainbow sung this way or this beautifully and heart-touchingly. So we're going to talk, and I've invited her through Bud to come on the show. So look forward to that. And I know I've missed people, but all week I'll be playing clips from the 37th annual Catalina Jazz Festival, which that was just the first weekend. Next weekend, it goes on again. Unfortunately, I have to also cover, fortunately, the Newport Beach Film Festival. So that's why I went the first weekend. But tickets are still left. In fact, I have a pair of tickets for giveaway that you can get. And since it's Monday, you're going to get 2 Asian Oprah giveaways. One is the audiobook copy to my #1 bestseller, 8 Ways to Happiness. Just made national bestseller as well as a pair of tickets to the second weekend pick-a-day on the Catalina Island Jazz Tracks Festival. So keep it here. There's lots of stuff to get, as well as to take away, that will improve your level of happiness. This is Dr. Marissa. We'll be right back after a quick break from news and weather with the gratitude sandwich. You're going to have breakfast with me. Don't go away. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Also to talk about mothers and how we can improve our happiness no matter what your relationship is with your mom. We'll be right back in 2 and 2. Break for news and traffic on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, the station that leaves no listener behind, and home to the Asian Oprah. Don't go away. Peace in, peace out.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And it is Mental Health Matters Mondays. And the topic is, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. And I just wanted to finish off breakfast with you. Gratitude sandwich, top of the bun, things you're grateful for. Bottom of the bun, things that you like about yourself. And if you haven't started this good life habit or this hashtag Blisscipline, please do every morning with me. That's how we start the show. I already said a couple, 3, 4 things that I'm grateful for from the Catalina Jazz Festival, from all the dancing I did, from all the amazing music that I got to sample and enjoy, and especially for the myriad of people who recognized and came up to me and told me they appreciated all of my positive broadcasts, people that I didn't even know I had an impact from when we met years past. And that just truly tops my gratitude list. Bottom of the bun, what do you like about yourself? If you're, I see eyeballs in the studio, welcome. If you have things that you're grateful for or that you like about yourself, which is gratitude turns inwards, appreciation, please put them in the chat. I want to work that muscle of self-care, self-love, because that, my friends, is the core foundation to good mental health. And instead of reaching for something to numb you out, I want you to develop a core that's so strong that no matter what happens, that could knock you down outside of yourself, that you can, depend on that muscle that tells you, you know what, I'm loving, lovable, and loved. So I appreciate my ability to motivate. I appreciate my ability to laugh. I appreciate my ability to sing. I appreciate my ability to really enjoy good food. We got to spend a little time at, I think, my sister Keiko Matsui's, one of her favorite restaurants on Catalina Island. And she will be back next year at the Island Festival. That's confirmed. But I was texting her while I was there, and Lobster Trap is a really good restaurant. And I've never tried their steak, and it was fantastic. So shout out to them. All right. That's it for breakfast. So please start your day with gratitude on the top of the bun. Bottom of the bun is the end of the night. When you're ready to go to bed, you can conjure up all those good things about yourself, so you're not sleepless thinking about all the people who done you wrong. Not a good way to go to sleep. You probably won't fall asleep. And certainly not doing this. MS, meaningless scrolling. I promise you'll have a better night's sleep. Okie dokie. Now, topic of the day. I keep threatening to get a drum roll, but this is I gave the topic choice to a friend / supporter who has been listening, and she wouldn't let me tape her say this, but she I guess years back met me on the island during the Jazz Festival, free subscribe to my YouTube channel, tunes in, knows that whenever she's not feeling good, she just tunes in to me because I'm so positive, and that she knows that her normal state is not so positive, and has been allowing me to chatter in her ear about how to remain happier in her life. And I asked her, what is something that is knocking down your happiness, or something that isn't easy to be happy about? And she shared something very personal that's going on in her life. And I thought, well, that's a perfect topic. I asked her to join me, but she's not, she's like, so we're going to just share. She may add on the chat if there's something on the details that I'm not getting perfect, not perfect, but correct. But this is the situation. And I'm going to add some of my own. I thought it was very funny that she should be talking about this because I happen to be going through something similar at a different stage. And I have been talking to several people who are talking about this up and down, love, hate, not easy relationship with your mother. And it's one of those very special relationships. I heard several of the musicians talk about their mamas on stage and how much they love their mama and how important their mother is. And I can remember, I've been very open about this, so this is of no surprise to people who have been listening to me for a bit. Let's see. I'm one of the 7 out of 10 who've had childhood hurt, and my well-meaning mom, more mean than well a lot of the times. It was the best that she could do. It's also somewhat cultural to use negative motivation to motivate kids. You're stupid, you're clumsy, you're fat, you're ugly. And those kinds of messages are meant to get you to not be those things. But for many kids, that just like takes them down. And then they spend the rest of their lives thinking there's something wrong with them, that they're never going to catch up, that they're never going to, get to catch up to anyone, and we're always going to be one down. And that was definitely me until about 18 years ago. I'll say that started wait a minute here, but that relationship is still alive. My mom's still alive. I just threw her 90th birthday party in Toronto, and it's been an interesting experience coming back from that, and looking at some of the things that are still the same when she's well-meaning, and looking at what kind of a relationship do I want. And then I spoke to someone else who, was wonderful in saying, this is your experience, and there's no right answer on what to do, or the cookie cutter, how to deal with your mother book that it applies for everyone. But there are some concepts that are helpful to look at when it comes to mother-daughter. And I'm going to speak to mother-daughter relationships, not mother-son, because I'm a daughter. And the example that we're going to go through is mother-daughter. So here's the situation. I'm going to call her Donna. Donna's mother is, and I'll say most of the people, most of the people that come to me for happiness coaching have had this kind of up and down relationship with their mother or their father. There's a primary role model who seems to be overly critical, overly judgmental, maybe a little on the selfish, maybe a little on the, or a lot on the narcissistic behavior side. I'm not calling them narcissists. I'm a psychologist, by the way, but I am purposely not licensed because I'm an organizational psychologist, corporate psychologist, as well as I don't subscribe to a lot of the belief systems in that system. So I believe in rapid shifts. I don't believe that you have to go over and over into your trauma and keep that alive for 10 years. So I have definitely seen a pattern, though, in people who come and talk to me about their relationships with their mother. And it seems like there's two extremes. Either I'm never going to talk to them again, or I still keep going back to the tractor for milk. And that's an expression that I made up because it describes insanity. A tractor's never going to give milk, but you keep going back to it because you are hopeful that it is going to give you milk at some point. Okay, so for Donna, her mom was that kind of, a little bit difficult personality, very strong, very stubborn. And based on where she was in her, uh, uh, mood, she would either be very mothering or she would be very demanding. And some of those demands would trigger, feelings definitely of unhappiness, feelings of, this doesn't sit well. So her particular circumstance was, so she's had this, up and down relationship with her mom. And, I didn't ask her how old she was. Let's just say she's in her mid something. I'm guessing like maybe 40. So just so that people have that understanding, we're not talking about a teenager and their moms, because that's always going to be an issue. It's just the way that is. Oh, just an aside. I think that teenagers being difficult, as a mom, I have two girls. And when the teenager times happened and people had told me, wait till they get to be teens. And I have satisfied myself that the angst involved in raising teenage girls is so that you won't want to keep them forever. So that empty nest is not that horrific, right? So that's my take, but that's a different topic. But up and down relationship, going back to Donna, she had an up and down relationship with her mom. And then her mom asked her to start paying for her car. So the car was in the daughter's name, I'm guessing, to help her get the financing. So the note is in the daughter's name, but the mom is driving the car all the time. And not clear why she did, outside of that she just wanted her money to go in other places. So expectations of the daughter to pay for the car. And that makes me think that maybe there were other things in the past that were kind of, if you love me, I'm your mother, you would do this. If you love me, I'm your mother, you would buy me this, say this, don't say this, do this, don't do this, which is a kind of a common theme that moms have. I try not to fall into that. I do still a little bit. Your only job is to do a little bit better than your parents did or your mother did, if you're in my situation. But it is not uncommon that moms are going to do what they were taught as daughters, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of my mom's treatment of me was directly related to her mom's treatment of her. And my guess is that's also at play for Donna's situation. But what she got from her mom was a request to finance the car. And I was clear. I asked Donna, now, are you driving the car too? Nope, 100% not driving the car. It was her mom asking her for money every month to cover the car loan. And Donna said she had been, in a cycle of therapy for herself. She was in a strong moment and said, nope, not going to pay for it. So she did, I'm not thrilled about psychobabble, but this would be one of those boundary making moments where she says, no, not going to do that. That I work hard for my money and I want to be able to buy things for myself as well. You are, you have money, you could spend it. The fact that you want to spend your money on other things, even though you're using the car, and not pay for the car, I'm not into that. So I'm not paying for the car. And that was a healthy, in my estimation, move for Donna to make. And it's interesting, codependence, which is the psychobabble, not by psychobabble, but the accurate description of the desire to put other people's happiness before your own. So many of us who've had childhood trauma will develop codependence because we equate approval with love. And therefore, your happiness is more important than my happiness, and or your happiness is tied to my happiness. If you're happy, I'm happy. If you're not happy, I'm not happy. And that codependent cord is unhealthy. No matter what age you are, that is not a healthy cord, because it teaches the child to always be on alert, looking at your mood, your behavior, and therefore adjusting their own desires, behaviors, all of that. Now, I'm not going to say it's right and wrong. It's just not useful. Because if you are this way, as I was, I came out of that 17 years at home with that strong BS belief system that I had to do whatever she wanted, say whatever she wanted to make her happy. And I'll give you a personal example. And this goes against all Chinese culture, by the way. So I'm feeling a little shame myself for sharing this story, because you're not supposed to air dirty laundry. But as I have told my mom, when I tell the truth about the things that happened, it is to help people relate that I get their pain, and at the same time that happened then. And I wasn't responsible for it, but now I am. How I remember these things and how I use them to make me better. That's the whole point. So just to give you an extent, and Donna, I know that you're going to be listening now or later. I get that, because I can remember one Christmas coming home, and my mom was, a businesswoman who always wanted to, she loved money energy, and she had some wholesale fur mink coats from her travels that she was selling to friends and family, strangers. She was selling them. And I came home from Christmas. I was in college, and she said, I have this, it was Christmas time. She goes, I have the best present for you for Christmas. And it is a short mink coat. It's beautiful, high class. And normally it's $500, but because it's Christmas and you're my daughter, you only have to pay $250. And I said, thank you very much. I already have, don't judge, long fur coat, Canada, winter. I wouldn't wear this. Thank you very much for thinking of me, Mom, but I really don't want this short mink jacket. And her response was, it escalated to the point where you're not a good daughter. How did I deserve a daughter like this? Which is usually the end of her, trying to get me to see how important it was to make her happy, and therefore $250 was such a good deal to buy that mink coat, and how could I refuse it? And this is this is absolutely a great example of a codependent mother-daughter relationship. And I absolutely was good morning. I'm glad that you're here. I said, and hopefully you're hearing this story of a similar case to Donna's, where Donna's mom asked her to pay for the car, even though she wasn't using it. The daughter wasn't using it. I was asked to pay for this mink coat, even though I didn't want it. But because I was still under the BS belief system that my job as a daughter was to make her happy. I paid her the $250 because for the entire Christmas vacation, that's all she would talk about. So I got worn down enough to just give her a check for $250. So I use that example to show you that I know what it's like to have a strong, stubborn, a little mixed up mother-daughter relationship where, you know, moms should know better, but they don't. And I get to deal with this all the time and try to have some compassion for her, that obviously she is a product of her mom's, and for whatever reason, this part of her that's hurt and broken came out in the way that she mothered me. And I'll say at the same time that you don't even have to have a broken mom to get this message that so many of us have growing up that says, you make me happy or you make me angry. And the truth of the matter is, we have a choice on whether we are angry or not. It's a muscle. It's not easy to develop. And I know, Lord, I know, even now, after so many years of practice and teaching it and talking about it and writing about it, it's not easy to stand in your love for yourself to say, thank you, Mom, but I'm not going to buy this coat. And I'm sorry that you feel that I'm a bad daughter because of it, but I'm not. And I think I'm going to go leave this Christmas gathering because you won't stop talking about it. Now, I didn't do that. Back then, I just bought the coat. Donna also took that very good, strong self-love and said, no, Mom, I'm not going to pay for the car note. And in this true example that we're using to highlight concepts for Mental Health Mondays, the reaction was very similar to what my mom still does, which is when she's not happy with me, she'll stop talking to me. And it's 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 years, and the longest was 8 years. And that was because I did not sign, when my father died, I did not waive all rights to estate. I never got anything anyways. That's another story, but she was mad because of that. And in her mind, she really thinks that I should have. In her mind, she really thinks that she was an amazing mom to me because she kept me safe when I was sick, fed me, clothed me, paid for my wedding banquet, $6,000 for my wedding banquet, even though my dad said he was going to pay for the whole thing. Another story again, but she continues to do the best that she can do. And for Donna's mom, she is doing the very best that she could do. And so I think that Donna saying, no, I'm not paying for the car note was a good thing. So that's the first thing. I'm getting in the chat here. My longest was 3 years, and I thought that was crazy. So we got a relator in the chat. It is a common thing. I'm going to cut you out of my life. I'm going to cut you out of my will. I'm not going to, you're dead to me. All of those unhealthy coping mechanisms that the hurt person's using, right? So the one thing that I would suggest, and this is for me first and foremost, which is to try to see that person not as someone who is doing this to hurt you, to make your life miserable, to has the power to punish you, because that's what it feels like. But if to make myself feel better, I'm going to say, you know what? That's their practiced habit of how to deal with their own pain. And I have to really allow her to have that pain, right? I really need to allow her to be who she is. She doesn't know any better. Now, I'm going to say, what do you mean she doesn't know any better? Like, mothers don't do that. Okay. That's my critic talking inside. And it's true to an extent, but there's no book out there saying how to be a great mom. There really isn't. I mean, there's parenting things. They're all people's experiences after the fact. But our moms didn't have that education. Our moms did not have the book. Our moms were not open for whatever reason to that. So that makes me feel better because I have a choice. I can either blame my mom for being the way she was and feel bad about that for the rest of my life. I have every right to. Or I can choose to say she did the best that she could, which is, I know, a cliche, but it is true. If she could have done better, she would have, but she couldn't. So I'm going to cut her some slack on that mink coat and all of the hundreds of things that are great examples of a mom who didn't know how to be a good mom. All right. So for Donna, when she's listening now or later, that is my first advice, is to, instead of seeing her as a stubborn, angry, unreasonable, how could you do this kind of mom, to see her as, for whatever reason, that's just the best she could do. And why do I do that? Because it just feels better. So that's the first coaching that I would say. We need to take a break. I've been talking about mothers. And if it's not one thing, it's your mother. And the only two times in your life that you don't have mother issues are when you're born and when you die. We'll be coming back with more helpful, happy coaching tips for Donna, whose mother is just like mine. And then something happened where now Donna is feeling a lot of guilt. We're going to deal with that when we come back. Don't go away. Chuck Woolery says, I'll be back in 2 and 2. I'm going to say I'll be back in peace out. Don't go away. I'll be right back after a word from our sponsors for Mental Health Monday Matters. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Are you a jazz lover? Do you love Catalina Island? Well, it's time for the 37th Catalina Island Jazz Tracks Festival. 2 weekends in October, 10th through 13th and 17th through 20th. And Dr. Marissa will be reporting live there. You know me as the Asian Oprah, and you know me as a jazz lover with plenty of jazz musicians on my show. If you would like free tickets and passes, to keep it tuned to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind. And you'll get a chance to win the tickets, or if you just like to get some, go to www.jazztracks.com. Now go and have the best festival ever.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, the station that leaves no listener behind, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And 650 consecutive weeks on the air, on camera. You can get me everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel, which is my show central, where you can get all 1,200 and We're on 46, I believe, but who's counting? Thanks for joining me today. It is Monday, and we do Mental Health Matters Mondays, where I get a chance to try to up your happiness factor on things that are not happy in your mind right now. And it's a great topic picked by a longtime supporter when we connected in Catalina Island again. And her situation is with her mother. And there's probably not any stronger of a relationship that can either make you feel really good or really not so good. So that's what we're tackling today. If you're just tuned in now, want to know the what was said before the break, please do go to my YouTube channel, free subscribe, and you'll get a rewind so you can listen to it. Also, I'm giving away for Asian Oprah giveaway tickets to next weekend, the second and closing weekend of the 37th annual Jazz Tracks Festival. This week, you'll be seeing all of my wonderful experiences at the festival this weekend. That was just amazing. And Joe, who's on my chat right now, doesn't know this yet, but when you tell our buddy that forgets my name, and I'm forgetting her right now, that I got to have a little word with the Spinners who were on the boat back with me. And that was a lot of fun. So they're going to come on the show, and we're organizing a time right now. But please do go enjoy some jazz next weekend. If you've never been to Catalina Island, amazing. If you want a pair of tickets to any one day of the shows next week, go check out jazztracks.com and then go to my website, drmarissa.life, or you can just ask my assistant Google to put in Asian Oprah. You'll find me there, and put in Jazz Tracks on the subject line. All right, now back to the topic at hand. So I was saying, for the situation with Donna, her mother had an up and down relationship, and then asked her to pay for the monthly car note because the car was in the name of Donna's. But Donna said no in a moment of healthy boundary setting. Even though I don't like psychobabble, she stood up for herself and said, no, you can pay for it. You're paying for other things. I'd like that money that I worked hard for to do that. And the response was, you're not a good daughter. I don't know how much of it is exactly that, but verbally, non-verbally, and cut her off from communication. Didn't want that. So, and I was saying before the break that I also, when my mom didn't like what I was saying or doing, and I wouldn't change it, she would stop talking to me. And the longest was 8 years. So Joe, who's in the chat, says it's 3 years for her. This is not uncommon. It's a strategy for people who want to control your behavior. And as I said before break, they don't know any better. You can say, no, they do. They shouldn't have done that. And you can argue with me on that one for the rest of your life, and you can be righteously indignant. But righteously indignant equals unhappiness. When you're righteously angry, it's still angry. And if you carry that anger in the pit of your wherever for any more than, I would say, a day, it's going to start impacting your health. So that's my commercial for letting things go. Now, in this particular situation, it got a little bit worse because suddenly, in this period of no contact and in the down cycle of the relationship, mom dies. So Donna's mom dies. And so naturally, I'm guessing that what's going through Donna's mind is, she's shooting on herself. I should have reached out. I should have given her the money. I should have been a better daughter. I should have, that's just the way she was. Why did I make such a stink about it? I should have. And that shitting on yourself record can completely derail, and the rest of your life can be consumed with that shoulding. And it's not pretty, and it's not loving to yourself. And I'm really glad that Donna said, I recognize that this is something that I have to be able to deal with once and for all. So today is the day that you're going to deal with this once and for all. And I'm happiness coaching her now. I know she's going to listen to this. If this is something that you're going through, and I cannot believe that I'm not also speaking for a plethora, hundreds, thousands of you. I know for a fact that I have at least 30 women who have been in this situation specifically just in this last year from my coaching practice, who really just do not want to have any contact at all. And there's nothing wrong with not having any contact if you can remove this shoulding on yourself. And so the first thing I'd like Donna to do is to recognize that what she did to say, no, I'm not paying your car note. There was no other more loving thing that she could have done in that situation. She did the very best she could, which is great. You said, I'm going to put myself in front of my mother's needs. And here's a concept that people don't necessarily understand, because most of us are raised, especially if it's religious, where one of the commandments is obey your mother and father, no matter if they are unreasonable or not. And so we have this BS belief system that no matter what, their wants, desires, and needs are more important than ours. And that is BS. It's a belief system that keeps us in our shitting ourselves. So my rank order in life to be 88% happy is God, higher power, energy, source, Krishna, whatever you want to call that thing that made sure the planes didn't crash into each other last night and we're alive. That creative force, I call him my UPS man, my universal power source, who's always delivering, conspiring for me, never against me. That is my BS, right? That keeps me happy. The next in line is not your mother, is not your father, it's not your kids, it's not anyone else but you. And this is a tough one, because we grew up thinking that they are next. They told us they were next, right? Don't make me angry. If you were a good daughter, you would. That's BS. So they did the best that they could. That's what they believed. That's what their parents told them. But this is where the dysfunction stops. We're putting the fun back into dysfunction. It's UPS man, self. The airlines got it right. You got to put your own mask on before you put anyone else, and then others. Okay, this is a hard one. You know, religion has made this into a selfish thing. Again, another BS. It's not selfish to love yourself first and foremost. It's not selfish. It might be selfish, but selfish is not a bad thing. So that's the nail that I want to put into the ground, the love stake, love yourself stake. So you did nothing wrong, Donna, by saying I'm not going to pay. You did nothing wrong to not play into the silent treatment. I'm going through this right now one more time. I did not make her happy with that party, and she was calling me every day, and now she's not calling me because in her mind I owe her an apology. And I'm struggling with that because I don't owe her an apology. I'm not a bad daughter. I'm a good daughter, 88% of the time. And it has nothing to do with what she thinks. So I'm also in that thing. Now, Donna's mom died, and that's a tough one, because when people die and you're not in the best part of that roller coaster ride with their relationship, there's a lot of guilt. Guilt is one of the least meaningful emotions you could have. Guilt has a tiny, tiny little bit of a benefit when you do something and you can fix it right then and there. Like you say something that hurts someone's feelings, you can apologize. That's good guilt. But guilt on this level is not good guilt. When someone dies and you aren't in the place where everything is good, it's because it can't be good. The case I was talking to about earlier, I just, my heart goes out. Her situation was she was sexually abused by her mother for 15 years, or sorry, for 10 years. And when she did her stand up for herself, there was no acknowledgement. And she realized she was never going to get an acknowledgement. And at the same time, she needed to love herself enough to know that to continue to have a relationship with someone who has no recognition of that was not okay. And so she made the decision to not contact, and her mother died. And I asked her, how did you feel, when she was notified? And she said, I did not feel bad. I felt not relieved, but she felt, she had already felt the healthy release earlier when she made that decision not to go back in. So it was one of those more, how sad it was for this woman to not have anyone there with her because of the consequences of her own decisions and her own behaviors. So I would say that is the same thing that if I could get Donna to release the BS, the belief systems that she could have done better, that she should have done better, that she should have looked in, that she should have reestablished contact, that's a no. That's an absolute no. The decision was to love yourself and make that step towards releasing the BS and the negative, painful ties that keep us to people who still hurt us. That's what happened. And so now the work is, whenever that voice starts shitting on you, that's your critic. That's got nothing to do with your mom. That's the voice, the part of you that always thinks that you are not doing good enough or well enough. And it's tied into every criticism that ever comes at you inside. And there's a beautiful African-American saying that says, if there is no enemy within, nothing outside can hurt you. So somehow inside, you're still carrying that blame and shame. And therefore, every time that memory goes to your mom, it's bringing that back up. So what's got to change is in here. And what's going to change in here is put your hands on your heart. And this is not the, I would invite you actually to be available for the first Thursday of November to work with someone I've been working with on the air, Larry Burton, who does the Pondera method. And so just as what I've learned is put your hands on your heart, cross them, take a deep breath in through the nose and release. And just, feel that space in your heart that is who you are, the love that's in there, the healthy memories, the healthy love, all the things that you did that show that you're a good person, that you're a good friend, that you're a good mom, that you're a good daughter, that side of things. And that's the balance centered of who you are. And that's the connection to work that muscle. So when the critic comes in and starts to yammer about you should, you can just breathe into that space that's more powerful than the shoulds and say, actually, that's not true. It really isn't true. And thank you for yelling at me. You've got to be exhausted, but I'm driving now. And I'm balance-centered Donna, who knows that it is unfortunate that my mom died. It's unfortunate that she died, with the consequences of her actions. And I have compassion for her, but I have no criticism for myself. And that's a practice. It's a discipline. It's not going to be a light switch that happens overnight. So this is how we get happiness back. We take those things that rob us of our happiness and we deal with them fully and completely and lovingly. And that way we have some way to move past that stuff that keeps yabbering and chipping away at our birthright to happiness 88% of the time. So what's going to happen now is the part of you that still wants to blame yourself, that still wants to feel like you did something wrong. It's going to maybe get even louder. I liken it to the Wicked Witch. It's like, I'm melting. And then, she'll get even more. What is that? There's an expression that I have to look up. The barrel of crabs. When you disturb them, they get even more crazy. So that might happen. But I promise that if you continue to lovingly soothe yourself with the counter of you should have, no, I did what was loving towards myself and I held on to that, and good for me. Because this is how we get to happiness. We take on and act on our own behalf. We love ourselves on our own behalf. We quit looking for others to approve of us. We quit looking for love in all the wrong places, and we anchor ourselves in self-love. My big brother, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, will ask us all the time, put your arms around yourself, love yourself, give yourself the hug that you're looking for from somebody else. We got this. We are the boss of our own happiness. Make sense? I hope you got some relief from that. I know that I'm not just talking to Donna. I know that there are so many women in particular who have this conflicted relationship with their moms, and it doesn't have to be that way. We have the power, and it's really personal. If you find it easier to have no contact at all because you cannot not get triggered, then by all means do that. I would just say for now, and I've been doing that since I got back from Canada. For today, do I feel like I want to put myself back into a situation where it could be, just like before, where I'm the one, my dad would always, say sorry. It's like, I got nothing to say sorry for, but to make her happy, I would say sorry. And then he'd give me, stuff. Not a very healthy system, but that's what I grow. I know better now, right? And my dad did the best that he could. He just didn't want that level of conflict. So for me, I teach what I need to learn. Every day I can just check in with myself. The most loving thing for me to do, is it to call or not? I've been, texting and sending messages to her caretakers, tell her, God bless, I love her and all of that. But to love myself today, I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. So for any of you going through that, that's my advice that I'm sort of taking. Thanks so much for tuning in. I have a great guest tomorrow that it's going to be a surprise because I don't have time. I'm out of time to look it up, but all week it's just please come back and put an installation in for your own happiness. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live in my living room, telling you it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. See you tomorrow.